In this video, we're going to take a look at one simple example that explains how the actual communication takes place between client and the server. When I say client and the server, I meant it's two programs which are communicating with each other. Ultimately, whatever the communication happens over the network is between two softwares or two applications, or it's two programs. The computer is just like a medium that lets the applications talk to each other. So we're going to have a client program and a server program. Inside the server program, we're going to request operating system to give access or to give rights of a particular port in the server. And on the client end, we're going to get access to that port, or rather we can call it a socket. What is a socket? A socket is nothing but a combination of IP address and port number. Instead of me saying that I wanted to communicate with a server with particular IP address and with a particular port number, I'm just simply going to say I want to talk to a socket. That makes our life a lot easier. Especially in programming, we can just create a simple a single socket object, which is actually a combination of IP address and the port number. We're going to take a look at it pretty soon, in a while actually. So once the client establishes connection with the server program, they both can communicate each other. They can exchange data between each other, and that happens using streams. So let's take a look at the program, enough of theory. Alright, here we are in Eclipse. Do open these files named simple client and simple server under the project networking. Let's first talk about the server program, because this is the program we need to run first so that client can communicate with the server. So on the server program, we're going to create an object of server socket. It is our programming way of asking the operating system requesting for a particular port. Whatever the port number that you give in here, make sure that is not being used by some other application or some other program. If that's the case, then you're going to see a runtime exception when you run this program. The next step is to call the accept method of that particular object, server socket object. What this is going to do is this is going to wait until some client tries to establish a connection with the server socket. And once it does, this is going to return a socket object, which we can then use to communicate with the client or exchange data between both the programs. We're going to do the exchange of data using the streams. This socket object will now have an input stream which helps us retrieve the data from the stream, and the socket object will also provide the output stream, which lets the server program put some data out to the network so that client can take it. In my case, in order to insert the data, I'm going to use data input stream and data output stream. I'm going to use this method to write the data into the stream, etc. This section is all about the streams. If you're not aware of Java IO, Java input and output streams, then I would really request to go and explore that concept first. I've explained about it beautifully in my Java course. You may want to go take a look at it. So after that, I'm just simply gracefully closing all the streams. By the way, this is not the best practice. The best practice is to wrap these three lines in finally block so that the code would be more reliable. I'm not doing that because that would bring additional complexity to the code. To keep things simple for you, I didn't do that. But anyway, please go ahead and do that. Or better yet, you can use Java 9's new feature, which is try with resource. That would not only make our code more reliable, it looks a little compact as well. So that's it on the server program. Now, once we run this program, this particular port in this current server's computer would be open for incoming traffic. On the client program, I'm going to create a socket object. This is like I'm requesting to connect to a server, and I'm providing the server's IP address as well as the port number to which the client wants to connect to. Once we have the socket object, again I'm going to get access to the streams, and using the streams I'm going to send and receive data. Next to that, I'm just simply going to take input from the user. User is going to enter something, and I'm going to send that data. Whatever the user is going to send, I'm going to send exact message to the server by using write UTF. Again, this is concept of streams. And after that, we're going to wait until server is going to respond back or put something in its output stream. Once it puts something in its output stream, like what we're doing here, that data is going to be made available for the client to absorb. So we grab that server message and just going to print it, and gracefully closing all the streams. This is a very simple client server program. By the way, we're actually running these two programs in same computer, or in other words, we're running in the same JRE environment, but in real time, we would ideally be having these two programs run under two different computers, residing in two different Java runtime environments. So since this is a very simple example, it would be an overkill to run these programs on two different computers. But you can always do that without any problem. Anyway, let's try to run the program. First things first, let's start the server. Alright, server is now started. Let's run the client. You would be prompted to enter something. Enter whatever you wish to enter. I'm going to enter something, and we got the response from the server. And that's the end of it. Once server sends the data, is just closed all the streams. Same is the case with the client once it received the data from the server. Now, can you guess the protocol that we're using here to communicate? It's TCP. We're going to take a look at example of UDP as well pretty soon. We can say that we're using TCP here because we're trying to connect to a server socket and trying to establish some kind of a trust between two parties, and then exchange the data using streams. This input stream is connected to the output stream of the server, and vice versa. Alright, see you in my next video.